Hello, everyone. Real Estate Ninja here. Hope you're doing well. The countdown to the European collapse has definitely begun. It's been going on for a couple of years now. Politicians and bureaucrats are scrambling to hide the truth. The entire EU is falling apart. Leadership in specific countries are walking away and trying to join BRICS, some quietly, some right out in the open. But the thing is most people don't understand the effects the European economic crisis that they're in right now and the subsequent collapse that's well underway is going to come to America. Most people don't realize that the 2008 recession was started by Germany in 2005. Germany fell into a deep recession and drugged the rest of the EU down with it, and then it reverberated across the ocean to the United States. By 2010, 2011, Germany had already pretty much went through a full-blown insolvency, a bankruptcy, changed up the way it was doing business. And then by 2012, 2013, it was the bully on the block. Most people didn't remember that. I remember in 2014 watching Germany push Greece and Cyprus around like a bully, robbing and stealing from them. And nobody was reporting the fact that Germany is the reason why all of them were in that mess because of what happened to them in 2005. Most people don't understand these cycles, and they don't understand, even if they go, yeah, there's these economic cycles, they don't understand the time lag that goes between these. Everyone thinks that the new president is going to save the day. But you have to realize the dollar right now is down, what, 1.25 points today, because the transition team, Trump's new cabinet, is saying, hey, I think we're going to back off of these tariffs a little bit. And everyone's going, what the heck? You know, I said the other day on my other channel that the new president's going to come out with a big stick and then he's going to pull back. The big stick is verbal. You're going to have to watch what's going to happen in February. I think a lot of things are going to happen in our house in America. A lot of laws are going to be changed. A lot of things are going to change there. But as far as these tariffs right now, they're 90% bluffs. Trump and the new administration know how big BRICS is getting. It's now, what, 41% of world GDP. This is nothing to mess around with. If you're going to bluff, you better be ready to come with a big stick and actually enforce those bluffs. The story's at a zero hedge. I want to start here. Oh, and I have to remind you, today's the last day for the bundle course for the current sale price, and then it's going up again. It's not going to be this price again for tax liens, tax lien master, and tax foreclosure pro. If you want to learn one time how to do this, how to sign up for auctions online, buy tax liens, make stupid amounts of interest, like very few people know anything about in this country, and you don't want to pay thousands of dollars for a course, links down below. Or if you want to learn how to buy tax foreclosures, you only need to learn this once. You're going to know it for the rest of your life. And one deal is going to probably pay 5 times what the course is selling for. So if you want to look at that, it's down below. It says here, with the ban on the flow of Russian gas to Europe through Ukraine territory, little remains before the absolute economic and social collapse of the European continent. This is really big. We saw Germany do this a handful of years ago where they said, we're not going to take Russian gas. And Russia goes, all right, are you guys really stupid? I mean, we're all you've got. What are you going to do? And they started importing it from other countries, and it saw the price skyrocket, actually hyperinflate. And it blows me away how you could keep citizens at bay by just not giving them the right information at the right time. You could actually give them the truth, but if it's delayed, you can actually keep people from really knowing the truth at the proper time. Actually keeps them at bay. And sorry, I thank you for the super chat, but it just went by really fast. Do me a favor, actually, if we could fire this up, type 1 if you understand and get it, that if and when, well, it's not if, when Europe collapses, it's going to drastically affect us. Sorry, Quentin, I don't understand the comment, but thank you for the super chat. It says here, energy cooperation between Russia and Europe is almost completely over. After nearly 3 years of sanctions and sabotage, The bilateral Moscow-EU energy partnership suffered its greatest historic blow. Kiev fulfilled its promise not to extend its contract with Gazprom, which was allowing the arrival of Russian gas to Europe, then creating an extremely uncomfortable energy insecurity situation with its own partners in the European Union. You know, a lot of people don't know recent history, or at least the last 150 years of our nation's history and the world war history. And one thing people don't realize is that Hitler and the Nazis ran out of oil. They ran out of energy to be able to move their forces forward. There are historians that say if Hitler would have still had a good tap on energy to be able to fuel his jets, move his ships, all of that kind of stuff, he would have probably won, because they were moving so fast. Their technology was so advanced that had it not been for them running out of oil and energy, they would have won. Well, the U.S. took a note from that playbook under Operation Paperclip. Most people don't realize this. We brought in a bunch of Nazi high-ranking soldiers, scientists, things like that. We gave them nice places to live because we wanted to tap into their know-how and their understanding. And one of the greatest lessons from that war was don't run out of oil. So what you saw was the United States transition from using its own oil to using everybody else's and trying to hold back, keep it in the ground. Not only a strategic reserve above ground, but keeping our oil below ground. And it's very important to note that a lot of people say that money is wars are fought because of lack of money. Really, what it comes down to is a lack of energy, because energy, whether it be water, oil, land, anything that can produce something of value, and the only thing that's really of value in this world is energy. Without energy, we can't have anything else. And I don't think people really realize that. You know, it's one thing to go and conquer another country because you want its land, its territory. But if you don't have the energy to supply the humans to guard that land, or then to use that land to produce a crop like food, to be able to drill oil, things like that, it's worthless, right? You could have all the land in the world, but if you don't have the money to tap into, or, to be able to access what that land actually can produce, whether it be food, fuel, things like that, it's worthless, right? And then when you can't guard it, you got bigger problems. Well, what's happening right now in the EU is it's completely crumbling because of costs. The costs of energy, which translates to not only higher gas and electricity prices, but higher food prices, right? Once things start to elevate certain aspects of the economy, like dealing with interest rates and things like that, it always flows down. It eventually ends up at food. Before it ends up at food, it ends up with energy. So you're probably wondering, okay, you're teaching you're on a real estate channel. Why are you talking about all this? Okay. In 2004, 2005, we'd seen a massive real estate bubble, right? The price of homes skyrocketed. As a matter of fact, around the nation, you saw this story, this narrative. That's all it was there was a housing shortage. There was never a housing shortage. What there was a lack of inventory, because normally there is X amount of millions of homes that sell each year, right? But what happened is that slowed down drastically. By 2008, we hit a bare bottom of no homes, like barely any homes being sold. And to give you an idea of where we are now, we're worse than 2008 as far as national home sales. Okay. So when you see home sales just popped 11% month over month, that's nothing. We're at like a rock bottom price. So any little movement can move the needle double digits. But what happened back then was, many people don't really remember this, but type 2 if you do, fuel just exploded in price. 2006, 2007, it's running up higher and higher and higher. By mid 2007, the nation's fuel and the price of a barrel of oil had peaked around $137.50, something like that, right? Well, what happened was a bunch of people had gotten, McMansions. They borrowed against the equity in their homes. They were out buying things like SUVs, and people were getting hurt at the pump. As a matter of fact, by the time we hit Max Payne, there were news stories of semi trucks that were going to deliver goods, and they were just simply pulling off on the side of the highway, and they're just setting their emergency brake and going, we're not making the delivery. We can't actually make any money. And that's when the markets broke and the Dow Jones started really cascading down, right? That's why we had a housing crisis, because everybody didn't have enough money to simply sell their house and move into the one next door, because everything had gotten too expensive. The property taxes were more, obviously the house was more, interest rates were more. Everything that is happening right now happened back then. It is an identical parallel. Well, when I'm talking about Europe and the EU, see, that's a parallel too, because Germany and the EU was crumbling in 2005. They were already calling the euro currency a failed experiment. See, this is what is exciting. But what's going on right now is all of it is worse. It's so much worse. You have more racial tensions. Well, actually, what's interesting, that's all made up in the media, because we can all see what just happened during this last election. You have more political tension. You've got more financial tension. Rates right now are the same as what they were in 2007 for a mortgage. Let that sink in. And I really want you to know, I did a video on the other channel. We highly edited it. Every time I put tons of effort into a video, it just doesn't do well. It doesn't get shared out. And what it does is it showed the cycles of what happened during the run-up of inflation during the Roaring 20s, during World War I and II. Then I talked about the late 70s. Then I talked about the Great Recession and COVID. And I talked about how those parallels completely directly tie into people walking away and stop paying their property tax, and the explosion of tax liens and tax foreclosures around the country. And I showed like how wealthy people in the past and how more millionaires were made than any other time during the Great Recession and during the Great Depression, because of tax liens and tax deeds. And it's this cycle that keeps going over and over. But you only have, in the last 100 years, we've only seen about 5 serious times where tax liens and tax deeds have exploded. They've always existed, but what I'm saying is, when the economy is pressed that hard and you see this overflowing, and it just started this last June and July, when counties around the country were allowed to start saying, you know what, we've got to foreclose in these places. The federal government's telling us to hold back because they don't want the truth out until after the election. We've got to do it. And they've already started doing it. They started going against the federal government's wishes and like, hey, we'll give you money, just put it off. You're going to see explosions in this in the springtime. And I hope people are ready for it. Very few people understand how to do this. I've spent thousands of dollars. The last course I just bought a ways back was $2,000 and it was complete garbage. I'm like, geez, I can't believe people get away with this crap. I'm going to 10X that thing. So that's why I made the course. If you want, it's the last day of the sale and it's going up. This will be my most expensive course. You'll be surprised. There's going to be a day where it's, hey, the cheapest you're going to be able to get it as far as $1,000, because I know the power of this thing. And it's still going to be the cheapest price, best laid out course in the country. You could do it from the comfort of your own home. You can actually bid on tax liens that are 100% guaranteed by the government. And the reason why I say that is because either after a certain amount of time, if you don't get paid your interest, you're either going to get to take over the property or they're going to auction it to the highest bidder. And then they have to, by law, the county will pay you first. This is the most insane opportunity I've ever seen in my life. When it comes to real estate investing, it's a stealth sort of way for gaining huge money. I mean, no joke. Like, can you imagine making it minimum 18% a year on your money? Minimum. That's because you'd only do one deal. Try cycling a bunch of them. All right, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for watching. The Real Estate Ninja is out.